So everybody knows that Elon Musk has been leading his team of DOGE and rampaging through a number of federal agencies in Washington, D.C., which we are loving because there's so much waste, fraud, and abuse. But as we continue to see more of what they're uncovering, yes, of course, we see these silly pet projects like Sesame Street in Iraq, for example. But we're also starting to see a massive issue of actual corruption that has occurred. For example, it was reported, I believe this morning by the Free Beacon, that Stacey Abrams, who is, Georgia's darling, ran for governor twice. She was involved in a lot of voter initiatives there, got a $2 billion grant from the Environmental Protection Agency after only managing $100 at a nonprofit that she started.
Yeah, it's the NGOs.
Right. So, Congressman, talk about what the Oversight Committee is doing with these new cabinet members like Lee Zeldin, for example, at the EPA to really root out this corruption and this infrastructure the left has built in D.C. to really push their political agenda on the entire country.
We're going to work with the administration. When they identify something that they believe is fraudulent, we will follow through with investigation, with subpoena power, follow the money. That's what we did in the Biden investigation. We got the bank records. A lot of people say, well, go after the tax records. Let me, as someone that's been involved in banking, tax records don't always tell the true picture. The bank records don't lie. And one of the things that we're working on, we go through a thing called the suspicious activity reports where banks identify fraudulent behavior. Banks usually catch when something suspicious happens. If there's an account that had a $100 balance, which is probably the minimum to open an account, and then all of a sudden they get a multi-million-dollar deposit out of the blue, that raises a red flag. And the banks report that to Treasury. So that's where we're going to be following the money. We're doing this now with Act Blue. And I think we're going to have some very interesting information to come out very soon on Act Blue. But we're having a hearing on March 5th with the sanctuary city mayors. We're bringing in the mayors of New York, who's not a bad guy, the mayors of New York, Boston, Denver, and
California.
And Philadelphia. And we're bringing them in. And these, other than the New York mayor, they have tried to obstruct what Tom Almond's doing and obstruct the deportation efforts. So we're going to let them explain that to American people. But one question we have is, who's been paying for this? And I believe you're going to see there are a lot of government pots of money that have been funneling through these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations. And that's what we want to identify. Musk is all over that, DOGE is all over that, and Congress is going to be all over that. And hopefully we can show the American people how abusive the Democrats and their allies in the deep state bureaucracies have been with their tax dollars. They have funneled this mass implosion of illegal immigrants into our country. They've housed them, they've provided free health care, and at the end of the day, I think you're going to see a lot of tax dollars were laundered into programs like this.
Sounds a lot like money laundering
Absolutely.
to me. So, Alina, when it comes to these NGOs, there's been a lot of lawsuits that are filed by leftist groups to try and get judges involved in stopping the taking away of the funding, or even giving DOGE and Elon Musk and his team, who's a special government employee, much like Anita Dunn was under Joe Biden and others in previous administrations, to keep that kind of funding. But it does seem like there is a lot of corruption, not just maybe something that got lost in terms of going to the wrong place.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's very clear. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. When you have a line item of trillions of dollars that does not get traced to anyone or anything but entities that are run by family members of bureaucrats, that's a problem. You don't have to be a lawyer to know that ain't good. Yeah. And the end of the day, look, even yesterday, they tried to file these restraining orders. There was a bunch of individuals that said, oh, we're being hurt by this, and it was denied. And that was actually by a very liberal judge in D.C. Who sat on a lot of the January 6th issues for President Trump and other people. Look, at the end of, this is what I can say. We have been, I think there's 70 lawsuits that have been filed. And I was speaking to Elon, and I said, you should put in Times Square a ticker. It'll say on the top how much money you're saving, and then on the bottom, we're going to put one about how many lawsuits get filed. One will go up, one will go down very quickly. But they do that when we're winning and when we're hitting them where it hurts. So desperate times call for desperate measures. You see all these AGs and DAs trying to come in. You see individuals, but they're not winning. And the only people that are winning right now are American people.
Right. The
They are.
taxpayer.
We are winning.
And it happens to be tax season, so everybody's filing their taxes, going, if I don't pay the correct amount or miss a couple cents, they'll threaten to throw me in prison. And now's a great time.
Well,
for
don't
them to
worry,
be
we're
seeing what they're
firing a
spending their
bunch of the
money on.
IRS
That's
today,
true
so don't
too.
worry.
Yes, indeed.
That's great.
You know, but that was the stuff that they did, and America didn't like it.
Yeah.
You're funneling people to audit and hurt the American people. Why don't we audit the people that are hurting
Yeah,
us?
exactly.
It's not supposed to go the other way. We're not supposed to hurt each other.
Yeah.
And that's really the mission, you know. And President Trump said just yesterday, I was with him, and he was speaking at an economic forum, and he said, look, we hope to take 20% of what DOGE has recovered, that is billions and billions of dollars, and put that money back to the American people who were hurt by the last administration, who can't buy eggs because they went off and killed all the chickens. But, you know, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we have to get back to common sense.
So, Congressman, how can